to have the best possible care. So whatever it takes,
I fucking did that. What the hell? Yeah, cool. Good weekend, everyone. Hope so. Had a pretty good weekend. Yeah, just been thinking about trying to set some things into place to make this studio a little more profesh, because it's a bit av right now. I'm also aware that the echo is it's not as bad as it was, but it's still there, so we'll figure that out. Alright, last week I was banging on about accountability. As you can see, I've got a vape in my hand. It's baby steps, I guess. I ain't been smoking weed, which is good. Victoria's got a vape, and I have been having sneaky puffs, and then I just ended up buying myself a vape today. I guess it happens. Yeah. Anyway, you can be hard on me if you want. I'm only going to be as hard on myself as I'm willing to be, and that's about the sum of it. What else? I had an interesting thought, and I wrote some notes on it. I'm wondering if we as a society are giving up on Hollywood. I've just been hearing reviews of this new Snow White movie, and essentially how people on both sides of the fence equally hate it. They're like, it's like pushing this woke agenda, ignoring the fact that it's a fairy tale, and and then even not even having real dwarves in it, I don't know, just sort it out, eh? I can't think of the last Hollywood film I saw where I was like, yo, this is on. It's all, they're just trying to, I don't know, just trying to fucking sugarcoat everything. What did I write? This is what I wrote. Are we giving up on Hollywood? Pedophiles, gluttonous wealth, woke, mass-produced and targeted garbage pretending to be art. The future is in the independent creative with vision and reckless abandon. Because rather than laugh at a joke at someone's expense, the climate blocks you from society. The bandwagon will criticize and dismantle a person for taking a joke too far. Who fucking cares? You don't need to hear about that part I wrote. But yeah, low-key, it's all secretly what we want. You hear someone say some outrageous shit, and you're like, oh shit, can't believe that they just said that. But all the while, feeling comfort in the fact it wasn't you to say it, And that's why Hollywood's dead, because they're playing it safe, because they're the worst, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what those people are up to, but they are the fucking worst. And I guess everyone's learning that now. So, yeah. Big ups to the independent creative out there who's taking a chance on themselves and trying to make something original and not just regurgitate shit that's already been made. And just, it's like a sausage factory, it's reconstituted shit being pumped into a bag and labeled as something different. And it's yucky. But, whatever. Actually, last night, so I'm assuming people have heard of Drewski by now. I hadn't heard of him, and a lot of people I know haven't heard of him, but I've seen clips of him online, and we found his show, what's it called? Could Have Been Love? Holy shit, that's the funniest show I've seen in years. We were in stitches last night watching that. And the whole premise behind it, it's like a mockumentary, The Bachelor, but it's just this dude and 17 hood rats like vying for his love. But I love that concept. Like, it's really just, it's great. Anyway, watch it. Yeah, but man, I feel like in a lot of ways, going back to that whole Hollywood talk, like, they've run out of ideas, or if there are ideas to be had, they ain't doing them because they're too risky. But I'm starting to think more and more lately, like, people say that every idea that could have been had has been had. But I think in a lot of ways we're kind of scratching the surface, But then, everything with AI, like, we don't know where that's going. I don't know. It's all unknown right now. But man, I'm hopeful for creatives out there, because some of the shit I see online, I see original shit every day. Like, people really are just punishing themselves to think outside the box and figure out that next big thing, And as a millennial, man, like, it's been such I've seen so much change in my lifetime, like, from having just a landline phone, or like, I remember the first time I went to the movies with my friends, we took a physical map, and on the map we had like drawn lines on the streets on the map to figure out where we were going to go. We caught the train and we followed the map to get to the picture theatre. And honestly, like, I don't feel like my kids would ever be able to do that. Like, the thought of having to map out, like, your journey beforehand, or even just, calling up your bro and being like, hey, let's meet at that tree in like 15 minutes. And then you go to the tree and you meet there, shit like that. Everyone's got phones now. It's like everyone's got lazy, There's no survival instinct anymore. It's all like, we're all reliant on the devices. And I guess with that AI, it's going to be the same too, It's going to get to a point where if you let it, there'll be no room for original thought. It's just, hey, ChatGPT, hey Siri, like, what? Oh, fuck, my Siri just turned on. I'm not talking to you, bitch. But like, you're just talking to your devices and being like, tell me what to do. Like, the machine mother, tell me what to do, mama. And that's pretty fucked up, eh? But that's kind of where we're headed. So you got to either evolve with it or devolve, And maybe it's going to be a bit of both. But man, it's such a crazy time. Like, in all aspects, really. Like, the world's really, it's such a different place than it was even 10 years ago. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, even like watching old movies, or listening to old music, watching old music videos, like shit that was wildly popular and that everyone resonated with. You watch it now and some of it's like cringy, some of it's creepy, some of it's downright disturbing. And we've all kind of shifted our perspective so much, as time's gone on. Like, we're a whole new species, I feel, than we were, like, and I don't know if that's what they call the mind virus, or if we're waking up. And maybe it's, it's different wherever you are and whatever content you're consuming or whatever your lifestyle is, but I feel like more and more people are like, this is a simulation, we've got to break out of the simulation, like fuck a 9 to 5, fuck that, like the societal norms that we've been raised to, be a part of and mesh ourselves in. Like, I never would have thought, even when I was in high school, and it wasn't that long ago, but even then I would never have thought that an option could be for someone to, sit in their room and like post up nudes and that be a lucrative career, or fucking, be at the park and make silly videos and that can be a lucrative career. Like, crazy. But now that's almost like the goal, A lot of young people, it's like, what do you want to be? I want to be an influencer. I want to be a content creator. And I think that's because the thought, that suffocating, back-breaking thought of being trapped in a fucking cubicle for the next 40 to 50 years, but back in the day, that's just how it was done. Times are so different now, Like, I got a job, I got a 9 to 5, well, a 7 to 5, but then I also got my side hustles too. And it's completely necessary. Like, I don't know how anyone gets by on just their job income alone. Even when I was bricking, and this was, a few years ago now, I went to a block course up in Auckland, and I was the only one of the boys on that block course who was not selling crack. They all sold crack because bricklaying just wasn't enough. But yeah, not the goods, eh? I'll tell you what though, I'm going to do something quickly. Shout out to my sister. I had such a good phone call with my sister yesterday. And do you ever have a chat with someone like where it's such a profound chat and it's such a it's really like completely changed my perspective on my sister, completely for the positive, but it's just, the chat we had really, really, like, I was like, man, I see you, like, and it felt like for the first time. And as we ended the call, I was like, man, I can't wait to talk to you again. Like, it was just, it was really special for me. I really felt that. So, shout out, sis. But what we were talking about was, I guess, a little bit of like clairvoyance, but also a bit about like wairoa, like, having that sight. And this is something that's pretty new to me, like a concept that's new to me. But man, I'm really interested in that concept of like having an innate kind of knowledge of a person before knowing them, and purely off of like viable aura, or, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm still figuring this shit out. But like being able to read a person before even speaking to them, before anything, just like seeing them and being like, you're the goods or you're not the goods, But it was interesting, like as we were talking, she was telling me about this kind of prophetic dream she'd had. And as much as I've never claimed to have any sort of insight like that, or, even spirituality, I grew up religious, but that was always a challenge for me, was trying to figure out my spirituality and kind of figure out what a relationship with God is and what that means. But she was explaining this kind of prophetic dream that she'd had. And I thought of a dream that I had when I was about 9 years old. So some shit went down with my old man, and after that, I didn't see him again for years and years and years. But before, I guess I must have seen him for the last time. But I had this dream that evening, and my stepdad had taken me over to my dad's house, and next to him there was a pregnant woman, and she was holding the hand of a little boy. And in the dream, my old man was building a corrugated iron fence, like a kind of gunmetal grey corrugated iron fence out front of his house. And he said to me, "Look, I'm going away for a while. I'm not gonna see you, but I will see you again." And then my stepdad and I drove away, and then I woke up. Anyway, didn't see him again for a long time. For maybe like 8 years. And when I saw him again, he was explaining to me what had happened to him, during the time that I didn't see him. He had met this woman who had a little boy, and then he got her pregnant. That both those children have since been indefinitely confiscated, but that's neither here nor there. But maybe a month or two ago, I was picking one of the girls up from a scouting event near where the old house was. And I thought, I'll drive by, I've been there since I was a kid, and just, I don't know, maybe that might unlock some memory or something. And we drove past that house, and outside the house, there was a tall, gunmetal grey, corrugated iron fence. And I don't know how my little 9-year-old brain knew about the fence, knew about the pregnant woman with the son, but, Anyway, it's really interesting, and I'm going to get my sis on at some point to kind of elaborate a bit further, because it's really interesting subject matter. And for me, being someone who has earnestly tried to search for spirituality, I would definitely like to know more. Yeah. Interesting stuff, though. And with that as well, you get into this whole thought of like, my sister was saying like her and I are old souls, like we've been here before multiple times. And I was kind of like, the fuck do you mean? Because I can just be a bit all logic like that. But she just explained it like, whatever you think this is, like, it ain't that. Like, we've been here, and obviously we've not learnt our lessons when we've been here, so we're back here. But also she was like, now's the time, This is we're here again, but this time it's like, learn your lesson, do what you're supposed to do, figure this shit out, whatever it is that you're supposed to figure out, and go home. Don't come back here, It's almost like made me think of like when you go for a warrant, And you go for a warrant, and they're like, yeah, you got to fix this up on your car. And you fix up a couple bits, you're like, oh, that might pass, and you take it back, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? No, go back, fix that. So I want to get that warrant of fitness on my soul. And who knows, we might get there. Or maybe we're coming back. But I tell you what, the more time moves on, the more the world kind of fucks itself. I don't know if I want to come back, But then if I ain't got no choice in that, what do you do then? But then is it just like, do you come back to this world? Or is there like, is there such a thing as multiverses? Like, I don't know, bro. It boggles the mind. It really does. What do you reckon, Bradley?
I mean, I really like the multiverse theories and all that.
Yeah, I fuck with the multiverse theory, Like, I'd hate to, the universe is such a big place. Like, it would be ignorant to think that we're the only intelligent life. But we're so small and so insignificant, like, at least size-wise. Like, I struggle with the thought that every single person on this planet has the same complex emotions that I do, let alone thinking about other planets and solar systems and universes and galaxies and... Yeah. It's too much for my brain to I can't even say the word compute. Too much to compute. Yeah. And I kind of feel like none of us will ever be ready, to have all that knowledge. But I remember being a kid and discussing the subject of like eternal life and I guess in regards to religion, like, you obey what God's got to say and you'll have a peachy afterlife. And if you don't, then you're fucked, kind of deal. But I remember as a kid, like, loving the thought of, like, you die and then they give you, like, options of, like, what do you want to do? Like, you've done life, what do you want to do now? And I just love to, like, just travel at light speed, like, just through the universe and just look at everything, like, And there's probably so much more than even just our universe, but just that alone, that vast expanse and, I don't know, it's a lot. It is a lot, isn't it? And then to think, like, you're worried about getting to work on time or, like, what old Bill's got to say about such and such or, fucking Karen ate my lunch out the fridge, like, when really, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, we're on a rock flying through space, like, yeah, I don't know. It's too much for me. Yeah. But, yeah. So, I'm just going to reel it in from there and come back to the fact that, yeah, working on the studio, getting this place shipshape, and then, yeah, like I said last time, just getting your motherfucking mind right. Get your motherfucking mind right. Because if it's too much to think about everything beyond where we are, then maybe scale it back and just think about where we are. And scale it back even further and think about where you are. And scale it back even further and be like, well, why am I? Or what am I? Or who am I? Because I feel like a lot of people, they'll go through their whole life, they'll never know who they are. They'll never know why they were, why they exist in the first place. Like, obviously, daddy nutted and mummy and you popped out 9 months later. But surely there's more purpose to it than that, like that thought keeps me going, like, about my kids, I'm like, they're important. they're gonna be so important. I don't know how, but they're here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. We just ain't quite figured out what it is yet. And maybe that's that cycle. Like, if you don't figure out why you're here, then that's when you come back, And maybe that's that lesson that everyone's got to learn. But I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone's outside. But, yeah, we'll get there. Probably call it for today. Take care of yourself. Have a good week. Don't get too hung up on the small stuff, Small stuff can weigh you down. Don't let it, There's so much more to worry about than that. Rather just focus your energy on your own health and well-being, and with whatever capacity you have left, focus that energy on the health and well-being of those around you. And if someone is sapping you of your energies, remove yourself. If someone is trying to put out your flame, remove yourself. Because ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. At Radford, you know what to do.